that they leave the room sometimes and they're like, I want them to look like stripper tits. I'm like, we got to tell him. You want them to look like big fake tits? I mean, right. He's got to know that, right? But I'm saying they're too embarrassed to say that to him, but I'm saying that's important for him to know.
In this Backstage Pass series, we have authentic conversations about the evolving role that aesthetic procedures play in your life. We also dive into the often overlooked steps that you should understand before making the leap to your renewed self. These are the conversations that you want to hear, but just don't have access to until now.
What are some of the things that you get asked after I leave the room? Because you spend a lot of time with these patients going over everything. You know, what are some things that they either forget to ask me typically, or they're embarrassed to ask?
The most common questions that I get are related to size and the profile.
Gotcha.
The only other question that really comes to mind for breast are sometimes you have patients that come in and they are wanting a breast augmentation and your recommendation is a lift. And sometimes that's frustrating to them because they don't understand how important the nipple placement is. So they oftentimes don't ask you those questions, the follow-up questions. They just, are nervous, and so then they receive the, quote for a breast lift, and they're like, why? I don't understand, why can't I just have a breast augmentation? She came to me and she's like, my breasts are deflated because I've nursed 4 babies and I just want them to be youthful, but I don't want people to know how to breast. I mean, that conversation happens, but that's not something I'm gonna tell him. I mean, the only conversation follow-up I would have with him would have been that they leave the room sometimes and they're like, I want them to look like stripper tits. I'm like, we got to tell him. You want them to look like big fake tits? I mean, right. He's got to know that, right? But I'm saying they're too embarrassed to say that to him, but I'm saying that's important for him to know.